guys, it's hashtag Martini time. The Terrazzo Martini Milan has become the quintessential party spot. But I'm not in Milan, I'm right here at the Diamond Walk in Santon City, where this epic location has been recreated to celebrate the final days of the Italian retrospective as well as the buzz of SA Fashion Week. Coming up now, though, Nadia takes us to Lesotho, where she takes us through the Mashweshwe Walk. This walk is in honor of the man who brought together so many tribes to form the Basotho Nation.
Today, I am coming to you from the magnificent mountains of Lesotho. Now, after what you may call an adventure ride in the gravel road, we have finally arrived at Minkhoneng. This was home to King Moshoeshoe, where he grew up and had the vision to bring together the different clans and form one big nation. Now, for safety reasons, King Moshoeshoe led his people on a 120-kilometer walk, starting here all the way to Thaba Bosiu. And for the next 3 days, we trace his steps.
I just want to express my appreciation to our guests who have come from beyond the Mohokare River to participate in this important annual event. Once again, we extend a warm hand of welcome to you all. Mudimal from our father, Highway Hall.
It was in 1824. They took 9 days from Minkhoneng to Thaba Bosiu. So then they arrive at night. So the whole idea for us to start this journey was, okay, King Moshoeshoe, because of that long journey, tough journey, he managed to take people to Thaba Bosiu. That's where all this country, which is called Lesotho now, we are having it because of that movement from Minkhoneng to Thaba Bosiu.
Nkile matsatsi a balwa matsatsing a robedi a matsatsing a robong a le tseleng hobane a ne a tsamaya le setjhaba se sengata le maqheku le maqhekwana le bana le basadi le dikgomo le dijo le ntho tsohle ke ka hona ile nga nka matsatsi a mangata a kalo a ntse a le tseleng.
Ke taba fela ya ho tsosa batho ho tsosoloso eno ya batho ba hopolena hana Moshoeshoe ke mang ba tsebe ka leeto la Moshoeshoe ho tloa bothateng ho isa moo Thaba Bosiu ba ileng a fitla a fumana qhoboshane teng.
Bohlokwa ba leeto lena ke hore bo re bontsha ka moo morena Moshoeshoe a tsibileng ho boloka le ho baballa setjhaba sena sa Basotho ka teng. Mme ka jeno re setjhaba se ipitsang Basotho hobane re ile ra baballwa le hona ho tsotellwa ke morena Moshoeshoe.
It is the end of day one, very challenging as you have seen, and where I'm standing is known as Thaba Bosiu, which is where King Moshoeshoe's grandfather was captured by cannibals. The cannibals tied a rope between the two mountains and captured passers-by. It's day 2 of our Moshoeshoe walk. We left Thaba Bosiu at 4 a.m. on our way to Madimong. Our traveling distance is 61 kilometers and expected to arrive at 10 p.m. But we make a stop at Dibeto.
Ntate Molo ha ile ntate Peta ha ba tloa sebakeng sena sa Minkhoneng ha ba le sebakeng se bitswang Dibeto ile a tshwarwa ke madimo ya ba a mo bolaya moja madimo a yana ja dinama tsa batho jwale ebe morena Moshoeshoe ha batho ba hae ba tshwere madimo ana ha ana lokela hore mohlolo mong le yana na ka ga ha ba bolawe kapa ba fuwe kahlolo e ba mohlolo mo ene tla ba utlwisa bohloko
ya ba morena Moshoeshoe wa hana hore ya batlang ho bolaya madimo ana mohlomong ke ya batlang ho qhaqha lebitla la ntate moholo ya ba o hlaba dikgomo pharama madimo ano ka moswampe mo a bile a fa dikgomo Basotho ba bile ba re ba batla ba bolaya e mong a re ba tebelwe e mong a re fela ba ile ba qetella le bona ba inehetse se bile le setjhaba sa morena Moshoeshoe le bona ona madimo ao.
We have arrived at Dipetu, the place of collarbones. Moshweshwe went looking for his grandfather's remains after being taken by cannibals, and they found what was believed to have been his collarbone right here.
It's a hopotso le hona o ihopotsa seo Morena Moshweshwe a ileng a se emela le hona o se lwanela ka tjhaba sena sa hae. Ke hopotso e phethahetseng, mme ke mohopolo o nepaetseng o re hopotsang hore na hana re bomang re tswa kae re ile ra tatafihla jwang mona mo re leng teng. Ha ba ka ba setjhaba sena seo re leng sona kajeno, sena se ipelang ka hore Basotho kajeno ka lebaka la hae. Ya ba feta mo he ba tsamaya fitela ba ilo fita madimo mo batho ba bangata ba hae ba ileng ba nna ba jowa ke madimo ha o tla qetella ho itswe mono ke madimo.
I've had a lot of fun, but at the same time it was painful. There was a lot of steeps, but we're looking forward to completing what we start because we refuse to give up. We never take a course and leave it halfway.
Tired as we had taken so much from the scenic route. This stop was not the final destination. We continued with the journey. Stay tuned for more of this exciting adventure on our next episode.
Get the facts first.
In 1994, ek dink was ons almal was ook baie excited geweest.
For South Africa, art was never a good thing.
From a footballing point of view, there was never a separation.
Get to the truth.
There's still some serious issues in South Africa.
Maar ek dink die regering kan regtig probeer om harder te werk om
ke apartheid in Sutlile ke le ke swa ke batho ba rena ba democracy batho ba batsho e se makgowa.
See what it all really means.
Ek is geel, want dit is die kleur in die verkeerslig wat vir jou sê wees versigtig.
I still give South Africa red.
We are somewhere in between.
We're giving our democracy a green for sure. We're very happy.
Democracy Gauge, weekdays at 5:30 on SABC News, Channel 404.
Is a state accountant by day and an aspiring novelist by night. Born and raised in a township in Venda, she writes about the things that she loves, namely Venda, royalty and love. All fiction, of course, but she's in Johannesburg to promote her latest offering, Adelaide the Royal Mistress.
This week, we meet Takalani Muchinyane, a state accountant by profession and an author by passion. She takes us through her journey of being a fiction tale writer.
I grew up in a township called Shayandima. It is in Venda, Limpopo. So I've always been a writer. I've always loved to write, but I never knew where to go after writing. And I only started taking it serious when I was in grade 12, where I joined a book club where we wrote short stories and poetry. So that is where my love for writing and publishing came. I studied finance, where right now I'm a state accountant in a government department. So I actually write on my free time and spare time. I started writing my stories on Facebook. I started year 2017. I opened a Facebook page called Stories by Takarani M, where I started writing my first inserts of The Royal Mistress. And everybody loved it. Like, everybody will ask me, where can we buy the book? Where can I get the book? Then I thought, okay, maybe I can work it out and publish a book and get it out to the people. And that is where everything started. I I actually went the self-publishing route, which wasn't too much of a struggle because all you need is money to fund the editing, the providing the cover designs and all those. But then distribution was the challenge, but it wasn't really a big deal because I wanted the book to get out to the people, and I actually had a plan before I started publishing. The Royal Mistress is just a fiction story that I made up myself. A love story, it's romance, and it was just inspired by the royal lives in Venda, and so I just created my story from there, and people loved it. So I thought maybe publishing a book will be okay. Adelaide the Royal Mistress is a second edition of, it's actually the second season of the sequel, where the first book ended where the princess was given an ultimatum to marry a prince for her to be able to access the money. So Adelaide talks about her journey into getting the money, but her plan was actually to just get married, cash the money, and walk away. But then she fell in love, and the problem was she was falling in love with a man who was already in a relationship with Adelaide. I'm going to publish probably next year, maybe. We're going to publish the third book, which is going to be the close off for everything. It's going to be the last season for the Royal Mistress. So it's just going to close up everything, answer all the questions which are on the book 1 and book 2.
Let's hear what some of the readers had to say about this fiction tale.
I love them. I actually can't wait for the third book. It just needs to come now. It's very, the book's very captivating.
Takalani says she hopes to be a world-renowned author, and we wish the tenacious writer all the best in her journey.
Now she's
Thando Tabete and Lungile Radu star in a new film about love, loyalty, family and friendship. Filmed in KwaZulu-Natal and directed by Norman Marke, Love Lives Here tells the story of a strong, hard-working modern woman with traditional beliefs who has been burnt by love. Fortunately, she has the backing of her two best friends.
Hey! Your shoelaces undone.
Yet another locally produced rom-com has hit the big screens. Titled Love Lives Here, the film starring Thando Tabete and Lungile Radu opened yesterday. It tells the story of a young woman caught in a modern and traditional idea of romance while on a quest for love.
She is a young girl who is set out in a way of finding love, and love to her equates to marriage. Marriage is a big goal, and she doesn't mince her words about it. She says, this is what I want, and I won't stop until I get it. But many obstacles kind of get in her way along the journey, as you will see.
I play a character by the name of Nkosinathi Shange. He's Zintle Malinga's love interest, which is played by Udaiding. Yeah, that one. Which is played by Thando Tabete. First, Thando kills this role, you know. I think Thando's like the ambassador of rom-coms. That's all. I mean, Kamala Thando. It doesn't get better than that, you know, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm telling you, he's a creative, he's a photographer, he's got it going on.
Isidingo's witty Sichaba Moloi Matabane, who plays the character of Duke, is also part of the cast.
To prepare for this, I literally had to be somebody else. Like I remember I got a friend of mine, the Mahabani cigars, to give me cigars. I had a certain cologne on set. I came dressed the part. So when you were chilling with me on set, I was always smelling nice, smoking cigars, and representing that ideology of life is great. We got the most. What do you want? Which girl are we getting? You know, that type of attitude. So I had to be like that to also influence other performers to then react and behave in the same way. So for me, I had to tap into it because otherwise I can easily go, buddy, behave, so I had to try and bring that level of characteristic in the film by being like that on set.
The story is relatable to a lot of young people who are out there navigating their way through the maze that is finding love and marriage.
We wanted to tell a story of many relationships. So in the film, you've got the cynic, and because a lot of us are cynics about love. In the group of people, you've got the romantic, because some of us are romantic, no matter what happened to us, we are romantic at heart. And some of us, obviously, we've given hope. So I wanted to portray a film where everybody is represented. How you feel about love, what you think about love, whether if you for love or against love, this is the film for you. Because I felt this film must be the center where people come and watch. And when you're represented, maybe you can be won over by the romantic. Because ultimately, for us, it's a story about romance, where romance is impossible, but it does happen. But you gotta watch the movie to see.
3, 4. Baby, nikwenze njani na?
So if you are a sucker for love or a hopeless romantic, then Love Lives Here could just be for you.
We are making you lose your breath every Friday night with Lip Sync Battle at 6, only on SABC 1.
The belt is yours. How do you feel right now? I feel like a champ. I feel like a real champ.
South Africa decides.
Sakwazi ukuthi sa-raise 290 billion yamarand.
An African Perspective this week. We discuss the foreign policies of the main political parties in the country.
On the 8th of May, when we vote his government out of this town.
From Cairo to Cape Town, Madagascar to Morocco, we are one thing.
Join us on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Now guys, I was recently in the Western Cape in a little town called Langebaan. While I was there, I found the most magnificent, most amazing, most open-air restaurant ever, and you need to have a look at it. About an hour and a half from Cape Town's city centre, you will find the tranquility of Langebaan. This Weskus sleepy city doesn't look like much upon entry, but we are promised a diamond-in-the-rough experience and make our way to Die Strandloper. What looks like a collection of shacks hovering together against our perception of harsh Cape weather, I must admit that I'm already skeptical of what awaits. The long untouched walkway gives nothing away, so we make our way inside. It's like I've stepped back in time to a place before electricity, where meals were cooked on open fires and bread baked in the rocks. It's a full sensory experience with a mix of smells that entice you. First, it's the ocean on the edge of the air, the gentle aroma of burning wood and roasting fish dishes. There's even a hint of coffee that lingers, but it is broken by the sound of gently lapping waves, of crackling open fires, and of seagulls calling from above. Die Strandloper is an open-air experience of down-to-earth seaside dining.
Local restaurant, local people making the local food. All our meals are sorted locally. Traditional West Coast courses made by traditional West Coast people.
This is also the place that our very own starlet, Charlize Theron, took her then beau, Sean Penn, to celebrate his birthday. Not surprising, as its seclusion offers patrons a great good foodie hideaway. It would seem that they have minimal overhead costs, as all the decor is either from the beach or washed up from the ocean.
Very, very natural, very regular. If it rains, we're not here. And yeah, it's just old fishing nets and old fishing floats that we collected through the years. Of bits of broken boats and all maritime stuff that we collected. Some crayfish traps lying around. Sort of collected and stuck together. We have the different fireplaces. The one behind me we use for the potjies. The ones in the middle are for the grilling the fish and the mussels. And we have our bread ovens over there where we bake the bread. The menu is standard. We start with steamed mussels with onion and garlic. Then we have a grilled harder. We then have a fish curry and sometimes some bread with garlic in. The next course will be snoek and patats. Then we do a green bean beef stew, lionfish after that, and smoked angelfish, and we end the meal with half a crayfish. Very, very, very much a local West Coast seafood braai.
Boasting a 10-course, very reasonably priced menu, it's time to dig in. Before today, I wasn't really a fish lover, as to me, all fish taste the same. But the food is delicious and full-flavored with no added condiments necessary. I took my time savoring every single bite.
Here we go. Mall of
It's very rustic chic, with the chic coming in as patrons are serenaded as they eat by a guitar strumming local to fully complete the Vescus feel.
Spirit grows together, and that's our scene. Carry me back to the days
So guys, the Strandloper is all it's cracked up to be. Great food, great ambiance. It was absolutely amazing. Lovely wind, lovely sea view. You should come and have a look. KwaZulu-Natal is more than just Durban, the promenade, beach sand and bunny chows. It is also the home of the Zulu people, which is absolutely rich in history. And Siphumelele Zondi took us there on a tour.
It was in the area of KwaDukuza that Zulu King Shaka eventually settled. It's there that he was killed by his brothers. His grave can still be seen there, and the stone on which he was murdered by his brothers was eventually moved to a museum, which is also in the area.
We have an absolutely wonderful, fabulous experience, apart from taking us up into a bush camp for kids and groups, where we could have experienced abseiling, zip lining adjacent to Tugela River. We've been to King Shaka's Visitor Centre, which itself was a look and insight into the life, albeit brief, of one of our nation's fathers, the father of the Zulu clan, the uniter of the Zulu nation. Incredibly interesting. Was in fact a little surreal as well, because while we in this almost sacred place, King Shaka, his burial place, across the road there's music playing, and so it was a juxtaposition of the modern and the vibe and hip, while you're actually in a very sacred place relevant to South African history. And from there we've come to the Chief Albert Lutuli's museum here in Graatville. Again, a walk back into history, a walk back into the fundamental history of our nation, and it's an incredibly wonderful, insightful and educational experience.
To honor the founder of the Zulu nation, there is now a wine which is produced in KwaZulu-Natal. It is called 1787, named after the year the Zulu king was born.
I do a vineyards and winery project. We have a winery here on Sugar Rush Park, as you can see behind me. This is a park that's been created as a destination where people can come and bring their family for the day and just enjoy a day out. So for us it was important that we didn't just have a vineyard close by in Belito, but we wanted to affect communities where job creation and job opportunities are far and few between. So we employ 48 people on a full-time basis throughout the vineyards, and these cooperatives are actually the owners of the project. The brand itself and the wine is called 1787. The name comes from actually King Shaka's birth year. At Sugar Rush Park, there's train rides for kids, there's jump parks, there's the winery, there's restaurants. I think there's close to 300 kilometers of single track cycling for mountain bike enthusiasts. So there's a lot for people to do here at Sugar Rush Park.
Let's move forward in Zulu history a bit and move away from the areas of Stenga and KwaZulu-Natal and move to Isandlwana, where the biggest defeats by the British were suffered in the hands of the Zulu on the African continent.
Doing these tours is the way I like to give the people an idea of how the war did waste a lot of people's lives. Because we find that sometimes we still got some of the places we're still fighting. It's really sad. Look what's happened here in 1879. Zulus got killed here, 3,500 Zulus, and 1,329 British soldiers lay dead. Under 2 hours. What if we did talk? What if we sit down and talk?
It was here in Isandlwana that the British suffered their biggest defeat on African soil, despite having modern machines and artillery, with the Zulus only having spears. The Zulus surrounded them and moved in, and that's when the British suffered their defeat.
What I did know was what you read in a textbook, but what I learned today was, everything came to life vividly. So the guide was very animated. He painted an amazing picture of what happened in these surroundings, and I think he did a magnificent job of telling his story and his ancestors' story. And I think it's important that he himself is connected to this story and he's being able to tell it on behalf of his ancestors and his people and his family. So I thought that was like a very special touch. It added to the whole experience greatly. I definitely would encourage anyone who wants to know more about their roots and the country's roots to come and experience it in this way. It's completely different from learning about it in a book or online or on Wikipedia. This would really, this is an experience that will stay with you, I think.
And it's a wrap, folks. That's all from me and the Trendz travel team. Don't forget you can catch us on our social media pages. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. On Trendz on SABC using the hashtag SABC News. We'll see you again next week. Same time, same place.
Like a shooting star, I go. Ooh, like a shooting star, I go.
Phambili kwendaba zosaziwayo ukhona to turn that frown upside down.